Welcome to the Luke and Jake Movie Podcast.
Holy smokies.
How great was it to be dumped into this world
Right
and
away.
not really know what's going on?
No.
I love that it created mystery. Like, mutants are gone. We learned that from the trailer. But we didn't know what happened. We see Wolverine at, like, the lowest of the low. He's a
Alcoholic, a limo driver. I loved that. On the border of Mexico and the States. I love that. That he's in Texas.
And the future we see, it was so perfect. Like, it reminded me of how when I saw Looper, I was like, yeah, that's the future. That's totally the future.
Oh, yeah.
Think that how it was talking about, like, corn being, like, the driving force, how they drink, everything is made of corn, which is exactly
corn
where
syrup.
America is headed.
Yep.
The driverless cars, like, even, like, little things like that.
Yeah.
Really, really got me
And
excited
I
and believing in the world.
loved being that the first word out of Logan's mouth is the F word. So it's already being like, this is what we're living in.
Yeah.
This is, and that first scene, just, they introduce Logan in such a way that it sets up the rest of the movie. It's brutal violence off the top.
This isn't the Wolverine.
And he doesn't care
PG-13
who they are, if they're good or bad. He's just like at the lowest of low. But oh my gosh!
And like the thing that really I think captured me, that surprised me, was I thought, okay, we could get a great drama because I know both these actors are great.
Yeah.
I knew we could get an emotional movie because Walk the Line is an emotional movie.
Yeah, for sure.
James Mangold's a good director. What I wasn't expecting was how visually beautiful and stunning this movie was.
Yeah.
With even the subtlest things. Like, for instance, where they're keeping Charles in that tank with those holes in it.
Yeah.
It looks like he's inside Cerebro.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought,
sure.
like, it's so great that they're paying homage to where these movies had come from.
Oh, yeah.
And they really do. Like, in the little conversations about what it was like before and how...
Oh, and when he says, you have to go to the Statue of Liberty. He's like,
Yeah.
That was a long time, Charles. Because that's the first X-Men.
First X-Men movie finales on the
And
Statue
then,
of
but it
Liberty.
was the motel, Liberty Motel.
It was
Just things like that.
And I love nods like that.
Yeah.
And like, but visually, the whole movie was engrossing. It looked great.
Yeah.
The action was right on point. Like, it didn't feel like it dragged or it lost any steam.
I just love that people don't want to see superhero movies anymore that just feel like an episode of TV. Like,
That's a good point.
Like, it's cool. It ties together in a whole universe, but as standalone movies, like Marvel movies, even DC right now, it's like we're just getting a snippet of the big picture.
You know what? That is the problem.
Like the end of Batman v Superman. Superman's dead for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it starts swirling, and you're like, oh, great. So Superman's alive.
Whereas this movie makes it a point that things end.
Yes.
And he even says it, in the real world, people die.
Yes.
And he's talking about it when showing the comic books, what I thought was unique.
Oh,
They
I
put
loved
the
it.
comic books in there.
I loved that they did.
So that was unique, and it to your point, it shows this is ridiculous.
Yes.
This is not real.
Yeah.
And then it takes you into this real world where if there was a man like this and we're watching him deteriorate on screen, I don't think any character since like Jesus in the Passion of the Christ has experienced so much pain on screen.
So much loss because he's lost. And it's so true when he says, everyone around me gets hurt.
Yeah.
People I care about.
Everyone I care about.
Charles has died twice in X-Men. Jean Grey, all of his friends, because you know what? I was reading James Mangold said that he wanted to actually start the movie with Charles in the school and all the characters that we know were dead around him. Because
I think that's what it's pointing at.
Yes.
And we have to talk about obviously his death scene, which is so beautiful.
Who, Logan or Charles?
Charles.
Oh.
We got to talk about that first, but he's saying that he did this.
Yes, he did it, and that's what happened.
Because his brain has been degenerating, so he reached out to all these mutants, and he killed them.
Yeah.
And so Logan survives.
That's what I love, that he's carrying this burden of guilt that Logan wanted him to forget.
That's why he keeps giving him the pills.
But that's when he remembers. Oh, and the two of them.
Oh my gosh.
I said it before in our non-spoiler, but the image of Logan holding Charles.
Yeah.
Carrying him around, even up the stairs, and she's watching. That's when I started tearing up.
I
was
felt
like,
that right away.
I was like, that's so beautiful. Him taking care of a father figure.
How much time the movie spent with things like wheeling him around.
Oh, yeah.
With how much time the movie spent with those characters talking.
Yeah.
There are so many movies where the conversations being had relate either completely to what just happened or to where they're going next. It's like the conversation just services the story. It's just like it's like punctuation.
Oh.
Whereas this movie felt like it took a pause and it let us just soak in this relationship. It let us soak in the circumstance. It let us understand where they're coming from. So when the stuff happens to them, we understand what they're doing. And how many movies actually do that right? And this is Wolverine.
Yes, this is still an it is amazing. That's why I can't believe this is a X-Men movie. Now, I like that one scene with them in the car, and he's like, "When's the last time you took your pills?"
Yeah.
And he's like that whole thing. It's a dad and son. That's what it is.
That's a real relationship between an elderly parent
and it's not,
and a son.
like I said before, superhero-fied.
No.
They don't have any of these discussions about the end of the world, or
That's such
you
a
know,
good point.
or just like side little jokes like, like remember when like I'm so happy there was no sudden cameos like at the end. Jean Grey
agree.
comes out, or
I was a little worried about how it might end.
same here, but no, like obviously there was. So we said before the middle was just okay. Like with that family,
it's kind of cute. It led to a really cool moment where he says to him like, "This is a family. You should notice this."
Yes,
I love that.
and I did love when the dad of that family shot Logan.
Yeah,
but there's no bullets left because it wasn't. I forgive you.
No.
It was you killed my family.
it's your fault.
And I loved that moment. So I
so
understand.
cool.
I just think the beginning was executed. It was odd. You could tell it was like, oh.
Well, he was definitely trying to juggle a few things. We're introduced to this Wolverine clone.
Yes. Which was cool.
But what was weird was it's sort of a trope of the X-Men world that there's this secret government thing that's trying to control or take over. Or
that
kill
was
mutants.
probably the weakest point of the movie.
Yeah.
Was that whole. I kind of wish it was just the guy from Narcos.
That's what I was gonna say. Just let it just be him, and he's talking on a cell phone or something.
Or don't even relate it. He just knows this girl has powers, and now like. That's so true that he should have been the only villain because that whole side plot with it being Brian Cox's character from his son
or something.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
he's that character's son. That was the only part that I was like, okay, I don't care about this guy.
I like that they interrupted him and just shot him in the head.
Yes,
because that's like all those movie tropes.
And I think that was nodding to it. Like it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah,
like. And the whole documentary thing that the woman made on her cell phone was a little bit like
a little much, but it was kind of cool at the same time.
It was cool.
They've like bred this new generation of mutants, and now they're safe in Canada. I love it. They're running away.
Well, it's
Canada.
so funny. Like the whole time I was thinking, I'm like, they have to make the border. I'm like, but why? What, this government agency can't go into Canada?
That's what I was
they can't
thinking,
cross into Canada?
But I think what's cool is you had these mutants came from Mexico.
Yeah.
They illegally go into America.
Exactly.
And they escape into refuge in Canada, which is, of course, a nod to Wolverine's origins.
Yes.
He's Canadian.
And probably right where those woods are. That's where he came from in the first X-Men, right there.
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's some connection there. But, yeah, like, other things like the girl was amazing.
Oh.
She was perfect.
She is a great little actress.
Yeah.
Just so good. When she starts speaking for the first time,
I was so happy.
In Spanish.
Like, when she wasn't...
I love...
He's like, shut up!
I love that he swore. That's just so...
I love that he was the perfect angry dad. And and of course... It's his DNA in her. Yeah. So he's her father, technically. Yeah. And that moment was really touching. Yeah. But it paid off because of all of that we had gone through.
Yes.
Because that was a long movie.
Yeah.
It was like 2.5 hours.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? One of my favorite moments is when he's dying. And you can tell there's a little bit of joy because he says, this is what it feels like.
He's relieved.
And he finally feels human for once. He feels the pain. He feels mortality.
Dude.
And he's like, this is what it feels like.
And when there's
he sees her and he's so happy.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
And I love when she turns the cross to an X.
And it worked.
Oh,
it didn't feel cheesy. No. It felt perfect.
It was like,
how do you do that?
And that's his legacy. And you know what? It really I loved all of them seeing him take the sacrifice, because they all sit there and that impacts them. He's their hero now.
Because
they feel
the little kid had a Wolverine toy.
Yeah.
So it's sort of reminding you, they all know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
But he's made it so clear to them that he's not who they think he is.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, that end moment and that X, I was so worried that Wolverine's hand was gonna reach out through the rocks.
Or I thought they were gonna get the green DNA and plug it into him.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, there's your trump card right there. That's how you're gonna save Wolverine. You're gonna juice him up.
Oh yeah.
But then when it started wearing off, I said, okay, they're going for it. They're gonna kill him. And certainly I feel James Mangold, he suffers a little bit in directing action.
Yes.
It didn't feel as sharp or as intense or as diverse as some other action movies.
Yeah.
I think the action felt a little repetitive. It's just keep cutting off limbs, keep slashing throats. But whatever little things that are legitimately just nitpicking, for all of its flaws, I'm sure I will watch this movie over and over again. I'm certainly going to go see it again in theaters, and I'll definitely watch it again when it comes out on release, because I feel like this movie touches on something we haven't seen in movies for a while. Now, I think there are a lot of parallels between this movie and Children of Men.
Oh, yeah.
Take a really selfish person who's in pain and give them this person they're supposed to care for.
Give them an innocent person to care for.
But I also love that we got to see it is a redemption story. It's very much like The Searchers. There's a lot of connections to Western type movies where a lot of these lead characters are bad men or hurt men or violent men, and they don't belong in this world anymore. And I was just so worried that they weren't going to follow that through. So the fact that it came to such a perfect ending, that it wasn't just action, 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 that there were moments where they paused and had real conversations, that it was emotional. The script was on point. Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart and the girl were perfect.
And you know what?
That makes me so happy.
I'm just happy that major themes were explored.
Yes.
Tell me what a theme explored in, let's say, Ant-Man is, or the themes explored in Civil War. They're so not there. They don't have any effect.
And they don't follow them through.
No. This had huge themes.
And I think X-Men always has.
Oh, yeah.
This one has just been the most successful.
Yes, on all levels. It is just the best payoff. I'm so happy that it exists. Because just that they took a chance on doing something that the actual Marvel Studios they wouldn't.
They couldn't.
They couldn't do it.
It'd be considered too much of a risk.
Yeah, but
you know what? I hadn't thought about it in those terms, and it's true that with the Marvel movies, they're treating each movie like an episode of a TV show.
Yes, yeah.
And then the Avengers or whatever is always their mid-season or end-season finale kind of thing. What they call it, what are they calling them? Phase. The phase 1, phase 2, phase.
They're seasons.
Whereas that's what I loved about Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and the Dark Knight Rises.
Solidified endings that stand on their own.
Yeah, the movie works on its own.
Yeah, and the way we know that is there is no post-credit scene. There is no scene. Once it says Logan, that is a final moment. There are still mutants in the world that now have a new hero to look up to.
Exactly.
And Logan is dead. Charles is dead. They aren't coming back.
That kid...
unless they do it in a flashback, but they're done.
Even things there are things about this movie that I think it's kind of mentioned before, that it's taking sort of jabs at other superhero movies or action movies. For instance, when they're trying to make their first escape, they're about to ram in the fence and they don't get through. They can't get through the fence. It's too strong. Or things... stuff like that people die.
Yes.
And that there are consequences to those people dying. Which is so, vague and doesn't exist. That the villain who's monologuing gets shot in the face because he's monologuing.
Yes.
There was other ones that I thought of too.
Another thing to touch on what you talked on before, James Mangold directing action. There were a couple shots of the other Wolverine, which were a stunt guy for sure. There was one close-up that was not Hugh Jackman. Yeah. And I don't know if they did that on purpose to make it not identical. But that was one thing that I was like, oh, that doesn't look too good.
That was something that I thought could have been explored in a different way. He was just kind of like a dog that they let loose. I almost wish there was a little humanity in that thing.
Yeah. And how many times has Hugh Jackman remember in X2? with the girl.
Every X-Men movie, he fights another X-Men.
Wolverine. Yeah.
So in the first X-Men, he fights Sabretooth, who's pretty much him. In X2, he fights the girl that has those things. In X3, who cares about X3? Yeah. Even in X-Men Origins Wolverine, he fights the terrible version of Deadpool, who literally has samurai swords coming out of his hands.
Exactly.
So to see him fighting another Wolverine, but never seen it like this. But I know that's a theme
exploring itself as well.
Yeah,
he's fighting against himself.
Yeah, what he is.
You know, I got that sense too, which I was like, I get it. That's cool. And to the fact when Charles is dying and he says it wasn't me, Charles.
Oh yeah, that because he's like he didn't want him thinking.
No, and I didn't catch what Charles said at the end. I mean, when he was dying,
he said the Sunseeker.
Oh,
he mentioned the name of the boat.
Oh,
that they were gonna get.
Ah.
Let me just make sure it's recording. Still going. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we're fine. I just, there are so many things to love about this movie. And I love that there's so much to discuss.
Yeah.
Because other superhero movies, and I gotta stop calling it that, because it's not. No. It's way more than that.
It's a great movie.
It's a Western, it's a road trip, it's a drama, it's violent, it's to the point, it creates, questions and explores themes. I just, I wish they could all be like that. I wish each movie could find its own way. Yeah.
And I think it's going to open doors for more like Deadpool kind of opened the door for this movie to get made. Yeah. I was reading something about the producers of Logan, and they were like, Hugh always envisioned this type of movie being like the finale, but... Yes, Deadpool's success did pave a way for financing to actually...
An X-rated superhero movie.
And it couldn't be any other way.
I'm sorry, R-rated. X-rated.
X-Men rated.
Oh, boy.
You couldn't have it any other way,
Wolverine's dick was enormous.
If there was no blood and no swearing, it just would not have the same effect. Because it's real. It would have felt
neutered. It would have felt held back.
Yeah.
I mean... The way that it perfectly fits in the X-Men universe and stands alone on its own as a great drama, action, Western. We couldn't have asked for anything more. No. Really.
I can't wait to see it
thank you, James Mangold. Thank you, Hugh Jackman, for sticking it through. Yes. It wouldn't have felt the same if some other actor had been, if they'd been passing the baton to different actors. It's because we've seen him and Patrick Stewart do this for I didn't realize how I would feel when I first saw Professor X, Charles Xavier in the wheelchair in the water tower thing, seeing him being muttering and talking. It sounds like he's talking about commercials from the radio or something, and seeing him like that, I didn't realize how it would make me feel. Yeah, I didn't realize I would feel like, no, you're Professor X.
You're Professor.
And I didn't realize how I would feel like I missed the school. Yeah. I wish I saw these people together and felt the loss immediately. Yeah. I didn't realize I could feel that way. Yeah. Wow.
Because it's truthful. That's what would have happened. Yeah. Logan lives forever unless he dies.
Well, I think that's what's happening is the adamantium.
Yeah,
it's poisonous.
Was killing him. Yeah.
So it slowly was killing him.
Yeah. It's great.
Wow. Good for them. Yeah.
I'm very, very happy with it.
I'm going to be thinking about this all night. Yeah. I'm not going to sleep.
I am. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Sleep!
Thanks for watching MOVI.